Hey guys, and welcome back to another lap guide here on the Coach Dave Academy YouTube channel. My name's Matt Emery. We're here for week 2 of the 2026 season 1 season. Let's get into the hot lap. So let's get into the hot lap guide then for the Spa circuit for week 2 in this brand new Porsche Cup car. So heading down towards turn 1 then, just making sure we're on the left-hand side as we approach the braking zone for turn 1, and up to about 80% on the brake pedal and down to first gear towards the apex. Now obviously this car, compared to last season's one, or the old Porsche Cup car, does have ABS now and obviously traction control as well. So just make sure we're not trying to trigger the ABS too much, because the car doesn't really turn when the ABS is engaged. So just be careful. We're still braking about 80% maximum really, just to make sure we don't trigger the ABS and we can get the car turned in. So braking up to about 80% for turn 1, down to first gear, and then we're really just trying to line up the exit for this one. It's got that long straight, the run up a Rouge as well. On the throttle quite nice and early, and then you can plant it pretty much as soon as the car's straightened up, and you can see the traction controls coming in handy there as well. And then completely flat through here. New suspension on this car as well, which is quite, or very different to what it was previously. You'll see as we go over this crest at the top, very bouncy, quite softly sprung. And then just completely flat, trying to keep it as straight as possible. Just go to the middle of the circuit here, which will help us open up the next corner. You'll see what I mean in a second. So we're not actually in line with the white line. We're not next to it. We're kind of just half a car length over, and that's just to make sure we can flick it left a bit more as we get on the brakes onto this curb. And what that does is opens up this right-hander at the top of the com. So yeah, braking just before the 100-meter board on the left-hand side. Again, not braking too hard, about 75% of the brakes, then pulling it across onto this curb just to open up this right-hander. And then just trailing off the brakes gently down to third gear, using a bit of the green AstroTurf or concrete on the inside. Keeping it in third gear, then a slight dab of the brake for this left just to get the car across and the nose in. And then using all of the circuit and the track on the inside with that tarmac there, just making sure we use this bit of track just so the left-hand tires hook over this curb quite nicely. And you can see again, there's a slight bit of bounce there, which is a new thing with this version of the car. It's really not too good on the curbs as it was. So just deal with that. You get a slight bit of oversteer, but it's fine once you come back down. Again, just a slight dab of brake for this right-hander, still in third gear, but then using the green concrete on the insides. And again, very bouncy on the exit. And then downhill braking, brake a little bit earlier than you would expect, just as it is downhill. So it's harder to get the car stopped. Braking just before this 100-meter board on the left-hand side and a little bit further before this curb on the left-hand side as well. And then just braking about 50% on the brake, down to second gear, just keeping the wheel quite nicely, about 45 degrees or so. And then on the throttle, nice and early. Flick it back to the right-hand side. Again, still in third gear at this point. Just make sure you use this curb on the outside. It's quite a big curb you can use just to open up this left-hander. It's also slightly downhill. You can't really see it too much, but it's slightly downhill as well. So just bear that in mind for your braking. And then on the throttle, once we get to the apex, let the car run out nice and wide. Make sure you don't touch the gravel as you pick up and off track, and it will slow your exit speed as well. And into poo-on, again, using all of the curb on the entry to poo-on, and braking on the curb as well. That's absolutely fine. Down to fourth gear. Just be really patient. You have to trail quite a lot into the apex, and then just really feather the throttle on the exit. Then once we can feel the fronts nicely grips up, just want to follow this curb round on the inside, and then let the car run out again. That's fine for track limits. This is probably one of the harder corners on the circuit. It's Piff Paff, the right-left chicane, sorry. So braking just before the 50-meter board and just before this gantry or bridge that goes ahead of the above the circuit. About 75% again, peak pressure. And down to third gear, just being really, really careful on the brake pedal, just making sure we're trailing it nice and gently. We've still got a bit of brake pressure on, just to get the nose in and to follow this curve around the inside. Don't want to get on the throttle too early, as we don't want to compromise the left-hander. So make sure you're just neatly hugging this curb on the inside, just to open up the left-hander that follows. And then middle of the circuit at this point, slight dab of brake again, just to get the nose in, and then using the curb on the inside as well. And I'll just show you what that corner looks like in the Delta app as well, guys. But this is the brake trace here, so we get nice and slowly onto the brake pedal, up to about 65% peak pressure. Same with the last car, just really being gentle on the increase up to the peak pressure. And then as we start releasing the brake, we start getting the car turned in as well into the right-hander. Then once we've done that, we get back on the throttle just to keep the minimum speed up and also prepare ourselves for the left-hander as well. And you see we have a slight dab of the brake, only about 3%, just to get the nose in. So we've got a little bit of understeer. And on the exit as well, just getting on the throttle, just gently increasing that to 100%. So back on with the hot lap into this right-hander Stavilo, I believe it is. So just making sure we're braking nice and early. It is again slightly downhill. You really want to be using this outside curb as well, just to open up the corner. Down to third gear. Just trailing it nice and gently. By this point, by the time the green concrete starts to end, you want to be back on the throttle. It's really important to get a good exit out of this one, as you've got a really long straight down to the final chicane. Again, track limits absolutely fine to use all of the green AstroTurf on the outsides. You have to have a slight lift here, not much aero on this car. So at this point here, you just have to have a bit of lift. There's also quite a big bump you can see there that makes the car quite unsettled. If I put it in slow motion, you can see just before the curb, before your apex, and there's quite a big bump, and this car's quite sensitive to those bumps, so just bear that in mind as well. Full throttle then, once you get past the bump, use all of the exit curb as well, and it's just trying to take the line of least resistance really at this point, not scrubbing too much speed off with our steering inputs. Hug the white line on the insides, and then open up Planchemont as much as possible. So as long as you're not going any further than this is absolutely fine, and will help you carry a bit more apex speed as well. Completely flat, just about. We did actually catch the inside curb slightly, which threw off the car. Again, because it's so sensitive to the curbs, even that slight bit of curb can unsettle the car, especially at this speed as well. And it actually throws us quite wide. Luckily, as long as you've got a car, part of your car over that curb, you're absolutely fine with track limits, and you get it back on before the end of the curb, that's fine. But you probably just want to be more along the white line, just so you don't unsettle the car too much. And then you won't end up out here as we did. It's just about okay. Just kept it back on the track. And into the final chicane, heavy on the brakes. Now this is where you probably will use about 90-95% of your brake pressure initially. But as long as when you're turning in, you're not using too much pressure, the ABS should be absolutely fine to use. Braking really is just this white line that goes conveniently across the circuit. So use that as a reference. Smash down the brake into first gear. not taking too much curb, take a little bit more maybe in some other cars. First gear, and then slight dab of brake to get the car into the left-hander for the final corner. Then straighten the car up, smash the throttle. You can use a lot of this exit curb as well. Again, as long as you've got a part of your car over this curb, you're absolutely fine for track limits. And there's a short run to the line, and that completes a lap of Spa. So that was the hot lap guide then for the Spa circuit for week 2. As usual, hope that was really useful for you guys. Check out all the latest data packs on coachdaveacademy.com and all the latest hot lap guides as well on this YouTube channel. But other than that, guys, have a great Christmas. And if I don't speak to you, have a great new year as well. And I'll see you for the next one.